Coming up on the show tonight, we get to know one of world rugby's superstars. We meet a young man rising to the occasion. And we see a guy with some tricky feet. For all this and more, stay tuned.
Good evening and welcome to episode 7 of Offside, which is sadly our final episode, so we thought we'd dress nice for the occasion. I'm Emily van Velthoven.
And I'm Barnaby Clark. Em, it's hard to think that the show survived for 7 whole weeks.
Yeah, look Barnes, it's fair to say it's been a good ride, but I think it's time we give Sky Sport their viewers back. We're from the New Zealand Broadcasting School, and over the past 7 weeks we've come to you from a different sporting location around Christchurch.
This week we're at the Hagley Cricket Oval, best known as the home of cricket in Canterbury. Now here's a fact, the Hagley Pavilion we're currently in was opened on the 15th of September 2014. The ground also hosted the first match of the Cricket World Cup this year between the Black Caps and Sri Lanka.
If I remember rightly, we won that match, didn't we, Barnes?
Yeah, look, we did, and maybe the Black Caps should play their last test here so we can actually beat Australia.
Yeah, this feels like lucky ground to me. The boys came in close against the Aussies in their second test match in Perth this week, but had to settle for a draw. Let's hope the Adelaide pitch is kind to them when they play their final test starting next Friday.
Now staying with cricket, and the Canterbury Kings travel to Whangarei to take on the Northern Knights on Sunday. So if there are any Cantabrians up north, get amongst it.
To football, and the Canterbury Dragons will play their first home game against Team Wellington on Saturday after the boys beat the Wellington Phoenix Academy 3-0 last week, so let's hope that the good form continues.
Right Em, let's hit that for 6 and get on with the show.
Nice. Being a sports show, we like to think that we can identify a sport when we see one, but apparently some sports, well, aren't sports. Russell Maloney finds out what makes a sport.
Sport. It's something we all think we know about. It's something we've all had a go at. But do we really know what a sport is? Are there sporting impersonators among us? It's time to find out. Starting with the expert. What defines a sport?
It requires either two teams or people competing against each other at quite an intense level. Generally something that involves hand-eye coordination, has a ball, maybe a stick in one hand or a racket. So there's quite a lot of different elements of skill, I suppose, that goes into actually being able to play that sport.
Very interesting. Now, being the investigative journalist that I am, it's important to dig a little deeper. Now, I've talked to my good friends down at Google and found that the definition of a sport, as defined by the Oxford Dictionary, is an activity involving physical exertion and skill, in which a team or individual competes against another or each other for entertainment. Now, that sounds about right, doesn't it? But this still raises questions about what is a sport and what isn't. So, back to the expert we go. What isn't a sport?
Chess. Yeah, if we were sitting down having a game of chess, I mean, that doesn't really require a lot of physical exertion. Yeah, okay, it requires mental capacity and thinking and all the rest of it. But you're not actually getting your heart rate up and pushing yourself to your absolute limit. And I think that's part of what defines a sport for me.
Okay, with that mind-blowing knowledge that chess is no longer a sport, I went to the Canterbury Chess Club to get their thoughts on the matter.
The brain uses the most energy of any organ in the body, and that's the main, obviously for chess, that's the main part of the body that's doing the work. I've seen studies that suggest it's similar to a marathon in terms of how much energy people go through when they play at that level for that long. And certainly fitness, physical fitness is a big part of the high level game. If you're not physically fit, you will lose to players who are.
Checkmate. That sounds like the makings of a sport to me. And following the sporting trend, it wouldn't be a sport without having problems with our friends across the Tasman.
A couple of Aussies got suspended for fighting. Blasted Aussies, eh?
Typical. Anyway, let's see what members of the public think about whether chess is a sport.
Technically they say it is, I guess, but in my eyes, no, she's just a board game.
It's a brain sport, I guess.
Why is that?
Because you use your brain a lot.
No, I don't think chess is a sport.
Sport should be exciting, it should be invigorating, it should be engaging, and frankly rugby, soccer, tennis, they're not very engaging or interesting. So chess, on the other hand, is. And that is a sport, I think, for the future.
And with that, I've come to the conclusion that a sport can be whatever you want it to be. If you play a game competitively and there's a winner and a loser, then it has the right to be called a sport in its own mind. But I guess at the end of the day, it's more important to be a good sport. Russell Maloney, Offside.
Canterbury can now lay claim to producing both the best man and woman in world rugby. Ruben Mama went and caught up with World Women's Player of the Year, Kendra Coxedge.
Kendra Coxedge can now call herself the best women's rugby player in the world, but her feet are staying firmly planted on the ground.
It feels pretty cool, I guess. I'm not really one to go around, saying that I'm the best women's rugby in the world, but it's a privilege and an honour to win such a prestige award. So it's been awesome for me and my family.
Kendra picked up the accolade at the glitz and glam of the World Rugby Awards in London.
It was amazing, yeah. Pretty much everything that you would imagine. Like awesome lights from the roof. Like you just almost felt like a superstar rocking in there. It was pretty cool.
And of course, coaches and teammates couldn't be more proud of her.
It's unbelievable for someone, especially from Canterbury and from New Zealand, to actually win the award. Someone like her, she's been up and down in her career a bit and finally broken into the Black Ferns as a starting halfback. It's great for her.
I think lots of us watching on Facebook to see it come out, who would get it, and to see her name there was pretty awesome. Especially her and Dan Carter, both from Canterbury, really cool.
Kendra is by no means the biggest player on the rugby field, but that's never stopped her working hard towards achieving her dreams.
All the hard work that you've put in, all the blood, sweat and tears that go into training and into playing, when you get an award like this, it's just a huge,
It's more just her willpower, just wanting to do it, wanting to be there, wanting to be the best. Huge drive, just wanting to be better than anybody.
Being a halfback, Kendra's encouraging voice is always heard.
Oh, she's a nuggety wee thing. You always hear her on the field and off the field. She just brings a lot of enthusiasm, always into everything, always gives 110%, whether games, training, everything, and just a real supportive player, new girls and old girls. So she's got all the talent really.
She hopes her achievements will one day motivate Black Ferns of the future.
It's not just about playing, it's about being a role model and inspiring those young girls. My advice would be is that don't let anyone stop you.
At 27, Kendra's keeping her options open regarding her future.
The world's my oyster. I guess, just a career is probably, is more of a focus now with me outside of rugby. We don't earn, big bucks. We don't get a big pay rise or a bonus for winning the World Cup. So we'll just play it as it goes. I want to go to the 2017 World Cup. Could be my last, might not be, but depends on what happens outside of rugby.
Even being the best in the world doesn't exempt you from nicknames.
She just, her talking and once she laughs, she gets a real giggle on, like tickle me elmo, like hee. I can't laugh like her, but she's a bit high pitched, like Elmo, I guess.
Elmo came about when I came down to Canterbury. There was Mary-Ann Mills actually. She gave me the nickname. She was a prop, so she was obviously sick of me yelling at her all the time. So she thought I sounded a little bit like Elmo, especially when I laugh. So from then on, it's just stuck, and then it got carried on to the Black Ferns level, and it's still kind of there. So it's quite funny. I'm gonna laugh now.
Ruben Mama, Offside.
Now to something a little more serious. Mental illnesses are very hard to detect, especially when you feel 10 feet tall and bulletproof. Kirsty Stanway meets a woman who's teaching children a very important lesson.
These kids have come out of their shells, all thanks to one woman.
Some of them can't even look me in the eye when they first start, and then I think as they get used to me and get used to the class, you see them blossom. And
under Casey's guidance, these kids are excelling, and thanks to physical activity, Casey is too.
I'd say the darkest time of my life was probably when I was a teenager or in my early 20s, and I wouldn't say I was suicidal, but I definitely had suicidal thoughts, like I'd just rather not get out of bed today, I don't want to be here anymore.
The feelings built up over a long period of time, stemming from her childhood, where she felt like she didn't belong.
Ever since I was a little girl, I never really felt like I fit anywhere, and I sort of felt like an outsider, quite alone.
Casey was depressed. It's been a long journey, but she's come out the other side.
The best thing I've found to help those kinds of feelings is like eating right, sleeping right and exercise.
It was two unsuspecting sports that helped bring colour back into her life.
Taekwondo, and yoga especially, really helpful for my self-confidence and self-esteem.
And now she's inspiring the next generation. She volunteers twice a week at the Hanma Taekwondo Club.
I basically teach them basic techniques, teamwork, confidence building. I teach them about discipline, respect, then just general Taekwondo stuff like how to kick and punch properly.
And the kids? They adore her.
How many teachers do you have?
1, 2, 4.
And who's your favourite?
Casey.
She's using her experiences to give these children confidence in themselves. And the classes have been a big success.
Parents ask, can we bring the kids? I've got a kid who's dyslexic or whatever. Can we bring the kid? Are they going to be included in the class? And she always gives them a go, and I haven't had a single kid leave because of the behavioural issues or anything like that with Casey.
Casey's goal is to travel the country, going into schools, speaking in assemblies and doing demonstrations. But before we go, one last word from this lady.
I knew that I was depressed, but I thought there was no way out. And I think that it's the problem with a lot of people. They just feel so alone and just in this black hole that they can't get out. And I think the only way anyone's ever going to get better is they have to just really pick themselves up off the ground and make it happen. If you don't make it happen, it won't happen.
She's hoping exercise can help others too. Kirsty Stanway, Offside.
Stephen Adams is a Kiwi currently lighting up the NBA. But watch this space. Ruben Mama went and caught up with a young giant looking to make his own mark on the world of basketball.
Hey, I'm Sam Timmins and I'm this week's young gun for Offside.
Basketballer Sam Timmins is really tall, 6'10" to be exact. But let me put that in perspective with me. And with big feet,
I got size 17 shoes on at the moment.
comes big game. Originally hailing from Dunedin, Sam's talent was noticed at an early age.
When I was year 11, I made my debut for the Target Nuggets, and that was a pretty special feeling, playing in front of a big crowd and everyone kind of knew who I was. And when I scored my first bucket, the whole crowd went nuts and it was just such a crazy feeling. I was like, I can't wait to get more of that.
Sam moved to Middleton Grange High School to see out year 13 and played for the Canterbury Rams this year. All of his hard work on and off the court is paying off though, with his next destination, the big time of college basketball in America.
I got contacted by the University of Washington after Coach Ramar saw some footage of my playing, and he was really excited by the way I played, and I was really excited to get noticed by such a great university. So can't wait to get over there next year.
This boy can do it all.
My biggest strengths, I would think, is my ability to distribute the ball from the post. I crash glass pretty hard, and I've got a right touch around the rim, so I think those are the three main things that I've got going for me at the moment.
And he makes dunking look too easy. For Sam, going into the fast pace of college basketball is an intriguing challenge.
No, I can't wait. Just everything I've heard about college basketball, it's just like a step up from where everything is in New Zealand, and I can't wait to get that opportunity to push myself and really see how far basketball can take me.
But of course, there's no place like home.
Family and friends are going to be probably the biggest adjustment, not being around them. Probably going to start wanting to hear the Kiwi accent a lot more. Just kind of the friendly nature of New Zealand. You just kind of get a good vibe about the place.
Sam is under no illusions about what it will take to reach his dream.
I've got the biggest goal there is at the moment, to try and make it to the NBA, and that's the first and foremost goal, but I know there's a lot of steps in between that, so the next goal is to get myself in good shape, good condition to play well for University of Washington.
Everyone loves a good trick shot. I think even trick shot experts Dude Perfect would be proud. Ruben Mama, Offside.
Wow, looks like that boy's going to go far. His feet were huge.
Well, Em, you know what they say about big feet?
What?
Big feet, big socks.
Oh.
I mean, I wear a size 11 shoe, so I'll let the viewers at home figure out how big my socks are.
When you think of archery, you might think of Robin Hood and his merry men, but Japanese archery is a world away from that. Barnaby checks out the Kyudo scene here in Christchurch.
Well, first of all, Dieter, thank you so much for joining us. Now look, what exactly is Kyudo?
Kyudo is Japanese archery, and it's a special kind of archery. It's the oldest martial art. After the horseback shooting, then when you don't have any arrows left or stuff like this, then you have to fight with the katana, with the sword. Yeah. But it's a thing for meditation. You know, you are only yourself and your bow. That's the only component you have. Yeah, you don't have any other things. And this is for yourself you make your mind is getting empty more or less, and then you have only concentrating on this in the moment what you are doing. When you see it, it's the people say, oh, it looks beautiful and stuff like this. And but when you see it a half an hour, then it's more or less boring. It's not an active sport, you know. It's not like rugby or the other sports, you know.
And so, what are the differences between Kyudo and your standard archery?
The standard archery is the focus point from the standard archery is hit the target, you know. Also, when you go on a tournament, you have to hit the target the most time you're shooting, or the bullseye, you know. And then you have points, and the most shooter have the most point. He is the winner. In Kyudo, nobody wins. You can shoot a bad arrow and you hit the target, or you can shoot a good arrow and don't hit the target, you know. That's not the problem, that's the way it goes. Yeah.
Now look, what is so great about Kyudo? I mean, what brings you back to it time after time?
I think it's a personal opinion. The time today is very busy, and all those things, the people have a lot of other things in mind, money, cars, big houses and stuff like this. But when you go back in the normal stuff, then you don't need it really, you know. And this is a thing. It's like a little bit. Some people say Kyudo is a meditation with the bow.
And look, lastly, Dieter, what are the skills involved?
Patient.
Barnaby Clark, Offside. Water skiing is a sport we don't see much on the old tally, but reporter Sam Pickering drove down to Lake Hood to see a set of twins who are owning the show.
It's impressive, that's for sure. Pulling off flips while being dragged on water at nearly 60 k's an hour, water skiing is easy to watch. And Canterbury has a set of 15-year-old twins who are tearing it up.
How good are you?
Average. Pretty good for New Zealand.
Thanks for the modesty, boys. Mom will spill the truth.
Well, in New Zealand they've been top of their age group for the last 4 years. They came into boys' age group, under 17 age group, they're just 15 now. They came into the boys' age group and went straight to the top, first and second in their age group. The boys' trick scores, you know, they're in the 4 grands. Trick scores, the next skiers in their age group are, around half that.
The boys aren't getting carried away with their goals and are staying focused.
You've pretty much cracked your age group in New Zealand. What's the next goal for the two of you?
Looking towards the next Junior Worlds or a scholarship in America for skiing.
Yeah, getting in the next Worlds teams. Hopefully travelling to more places around the world and stuff.
To go with having 3 older siblings and a father who all water ski, Mum Janine has an idea as to why these twins are doing so well.
They've got to have drive and determination for sure. There's a degree of talent there, but talent will get you so far in the sport. Hard work and determination will get the rest. A lot of people are very talented and start the sport very well, but unless they put the hard yards in, get out here in the cold water and ski when nobody else is skiing, you know, you've got to do the time.
I certainly didn't get in, but it was easy to tell that the water was very cold. Rather you than me, George. Sam Pickering, Offside.
You know what, Em? Sometimes women scare me. I watched women's roller derby this week and that terrified me.
take the game of rugby and wheels and get rid of the ball. That's the roughest way to explain it, roller derby. Offside's Kirsty Stanway went along to see what it's all about.
While it may seem like fun and games,
We've done like a Harry Potter bout. Nerds versus cheerleaders was the last one. So, you know, we get dressed up, we put on a silly kind of entrance thing, and then we play derby.
as soon as the whistle blows, it's down to business.
People get knocked down and people just crack up, or they help each other up and apologise, although there are no sorries in derby, but there are.
If you've never seen the movie Whip It, you will have absolutely no idea what's going on.
It's a little bit like pursuit cycling in that you're pursuing people around the track, but apart from that, it's unlike anything that I've ever played before.
There are no balls or goals, but there's plenty of big hits, tricks, and a lot of hardware.
Everything: knee, elbow, wrist guards, mouth guards, helmet.
So how does it all work?
You've got your team of blockers, and then you've got your jammer for each team, and they're the ones that have a helmet cover that's got a star on it. So basically the whistle goes and their body is the ball. Basically, they're making their way through everybody else, and everybody's trying to knock them down but also help their own jammer.
Unless you're watching a bout, it's pretty confusing.
Yeah, there are a lot of rules. And then a lot of sub-rules to go with every rule, and a lot of cross-referencing of rules. Yeah.
So let me explain it as simply as possible. There are 2 teams with 10 on the track at a time. On each team there is 1 jammer. She scores all the points. The other 4 players are blockers. Their aim's to stop the other team's jammer from breaking through the pack while helping their own jammer score.
And then every time you lap someone, hips passing hips, you score a point.
Besides the physicality and fearless moves, what keeps these women in the sport?
I think it's just probably the roller skating. Actually, not just. It's the group of women as well. It's kind of a really they become your friends and your family.
If you want to find out more, check out Dead End Derby on Facebook. Kirsty Stanway, Offside.
Sport provides the opportunity for a person to work towards being the best while expressing themselves on the field or court. I went and found a man using a football to express himself in a very unique way.
His name isn't Michael Phelps, and he's certainly not in a swimming pool, but Ollie Bowman is a freestyler in his own right. A football freestyler. A football freestyler?
It's basically the art of doing tricks with the ball, using all parts of your body, being really, really creative. It incorporates a bunch of different sports sort of all into this one sort of urban street sport called freestyle.
Ollie dived into the freestyling scene while in year 13, and for the 7 years since then, he's made quite a name for himself.
I've been the New Zealand champion since 2010, so I'm 5 years in a row. Oceania champion 3 years in a row now, defended my title a couple of weeks ago. And I have a world ranking of 11th, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Freestyle is the art of self-expression with a football, and Ollie's been expressing himself all over the world.
I've ended up in China and then gone to London and Japan, Czech Republic, all over the place just for freestyle.
Ollie's skills are obvious, but he's been juggling more to get this good than just a ball.
Get up in the morning and do like a little bit of yoga, try and get myself a little bit more flexible. I train breakdance as well. I love to incorporate breakdance style into my freestyle tricks.
While football players have a reputation of being drama queens, this bloke isn't afraid of putting his body on the line, tearing ligaments in his hand 2 days before a major showdown.
So on the morning of the competition, I cut my plaster cast off and just competed and was doing handstands and doing all sorts and just sort of working through the pain and to get the victory.
But winning isn't the only thing that Ollie's got in mind. He's passing on life lessons to the young ones.
I've gone into a few schools and done a few talks, done a few shows, and I'd love to just inspire kids and get them active and get them sort of maybe using my sort of story to encourage them and to inspire them to do what they love.
Barnaby Clark, Offside.
We've reached the final of our Can You Quit, where I went along and challenged world champion mountain biker Anton Cooper. Firstly, I called him a BMX biker. Secondly, I called him Logan like 3 times. And lastly, his results will shock you.
Welcome back to our final challenge of Can You Quit. I'm down at the Hub Bike Centre at Tower Junction. I'm going to go surprise Anton. He's probably playing with bikes, and we're going to see how well he gets on.
Hello and welcome back to our final episode of Can You Coits. I'm joined here by Anton Cooper. Anton, how are you going?
Good, thank you.
Now, Anton is a world champion mountain biker. Do you want to talk us through your achievements so far?
I guess I have 3 main achievements. My junior world title, under 23 world title this year, and also my Commonwealth Games gold, which I won last year.
Nice. All right, so you've been nominated by Sophie Pascoe. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's all right. Sophie's a good friend, but clearly not too good a friend. I'd be happy if I get 2 or 3, but I can't see myself beating her.
Do you think you're going to beat Keisha and Logan Van Beek, or?
Oh, I'm
pretty
not
good
sure.
score?
I'm not sure. Let's see.
Any trick shots, any special techniques you're going to unleash today?
No, my practice run wasn't great, so I'd be happy if I just keep it nice and simple and maybe get 1 or 2 will be enough.
All right, well, let's get geared up and let's get going. Anton, wrong target.
Oh, sorry, am I aiming for this?
Yeah. Anton, you scored 0.
It's not so flash.
What happened out there? Talk me through it.
Just wasn't coming off the hand right. You know, it's all technique. No, I hadn't practiced enough, clearly.
I think you definitely need to stick with mountain biking.
I think so too.
Look, aside from that, what's coming up for you next?
This summer we've Nationals, Oceanias, and then it heads into the World Cup season, so the early part of the year is about Olympic selection, really.
Are you feeling confident about Rio?
Yeah, I mean, I've done everything I needed to do this year, and I just need to keep on doing that, and hopefully it all pans out well.
All right, all the best. I'm going to give you these, and I'm going to get out of here.
Alrighty, see ya. Hi, I'm Anton Cooper, and I just scored 0 on the Can You Coits challenge, making me bottom of the leaderboard. Congrats, Logan and Keisha.
Unlucky there, Anton, but to be fair, it's a pretty tricky game.
I agree. In fact, let's show the viewers at home how bloody hard it is. Okay, so maybe Anton was just really, really bad. Anyway, congrats Keisha and Logan. You guys rock in the world of coitus.
It's Coits Barnes, you don't want to mix it up.
Noted. That's it for the show tonight. For the final time, good luck to all Cantabrians taking to the field this weekend. Go hard.
And also a big thank you to V-Base for letting us film right here at the Hagley Oval.
Well, it's the end of a very short era, and we hope you've enjoyed all of the stories we've brought you over the last 7 weeks, and maybe even learned a thing or two.
From all of us here at Offside, a big thank you for watching, and we really do appreciate it. Good night.